Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone to our official virtual launch of our new vertical Plug and Play Maritime with its home port in the beautiful city of Antwerp. My name is Saeed. I'm heading our European operations within supply chain and logistics, and together with my colleague David, I had the pleasure working with the teams of our founding partners to build this unique platform, the very first platform of Plug and Play within maritime innovation. A special thanks goes out to our partners and also our team members from Stuttgart and Hamburg who have worked together with us in order to make this a real thing. And I'm beyond excited since me personally, I have my roots in the maritime industry, so it's a very special day for me on a personal side as well. Therefore, I'm excited to work with, or we in general as Plug and Play, we're excited to connect the world of tradition and entrepreneurship with the world of innovation and entrepreneurship. Before going to give you a little introduction of today's agenda, I would like to invite you to stay for the whole day. We have today a very unique setup for networking. I think some of you have had the opportunity at the beginning to have the first kind of interaction with each other. We have this platform which is called Ramo. You have the opportunity to click around the different tables to meet different people. You can meet our partners, our founding partners, our other corporate partners from the different verticals. You can meet the tech companies and startups that we have invited today. You can also meet the whole ecosystem that we have invited. So please stay here, please mingle around, and in the world of virtual events, network as much as possible. Now, I would like to give you a little insight about today's agenda. We will kick it off soon with a little opening speech from our CEO and founder, Saeed Amidi, giving you an insight about the Lucky Building, the history, and how we started in the 90s to build the whole Plug and Play ecosystem, innovation platform, and everything together. Handing it then over to David, with whom I will be leading this initiative around maritime innovation, giving you an insight about the program timeline, the next upcoming events, and also, most importantly and most interesting, who are the founding partners? Some of you have probably heard of them, some not, so I'm excited to hear from their lightning talks about what they are speaking about, what their pain points are, and then we're going to have an industry panel with our founding partners to dive a little bit deeper into the vision and mission of innovation. Afterwards, we were going to invite 6 startups on stage for 3 different topics. We are going to cover the topic of safety within maritime, sustainable and green shipping, and automation within the maritime industry. Last but not least, we have a very known guest that some of you know from our Stuttgart platform. Dan Ram is going to come on stage, have a keynote about the magic of collaboration. Dan is an old friend of us, hosting our expos in Stuttgart, where we host the largest innovation platform in the mobility industry, and he is an expert on entrepreneurship, and we're very much looking forward to hear what he's going to say. Now, I would like to hand it over to Saeed, straight from Silicon Valley, with the story of the Lucky Building, and wish everyone to enjoy the show. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. It's great to come to you from Silicon Valley, California. As you may know, My name is Saeed Amidi, and I am the CEO and the founder of Plug and Play Tech Center, or lately we call it Innovation Platform. You know, in the early days when the idea came to me, I was by coincidence housing some great entrepreneurs like Peter Thiel of PayPal, or the Larry and Sergey of Google. And I had, you know, the front seat in how they changed the world. One of the startups that was in our lucky building is Danger. You may not be familiar with the company, but they, in my opinion, had the first smartphone that used to flip open, called Sidekick. And what is interesting about Sidekick and Danger is the founding team, which was Andy Rubin. And later on, even though we seed funded Danger, he started Android outside of Google. And within a couple of months, we couldn't get hold of Andy anymore. And we realized that Larry and Sergey asked him to join Google and launch Android inside Google, which is now the biggest operating system for smartphone. The reason why I am mentioning this is because as Plug and Play and as Saeed Amidi, we were so lucky to be in the right place, right time, and meet these great entrepreneurs and see their incredible growth. One of my great friend, Omid Kordestani, who is credited for business model of Google and operation and revenue, mentioned to me, Saeed, in technology business, you try to squeeze 20 years of business development growth into 2 years. And sometimes magic happens and it works, and sometimes they fail quickly. But in the case of Google, Dropbox, Lending Club, N26 in Germany, we were lucky not to only know these entrepreneurs, but also participate in their dream. And for example, N26 in Berlin, I met Maximilian and Valentino. They drove from Vienna to see me, and they hadn't even registered the company. And they were part of our batch one in our accelerator with Axel Spring Plug and Play. And quite frankly, they have executed incredibly well as a new bank, disrupting the banking world. We feel that when we invest in companies, and we do more than 200 investments a year, we define the entrepreneur, how passionate they are, how knowledgeable they are, and can they execute on their dream. And we have been also very lucky. I believe as of last count, we have had 16 unicorn, and most recently Flutterwave out of Africa, which is the platform for backup of transferring money, became a unicorn. Big ID, which is an AI company, became a unicorn. Apply Board out of Toronto, Canada, which does application for universities in US, Canada, and now all around the world, reached a $4 billion valuation. As I said, Plug and Play and our team of venture people, corporate relationship people are very, very proud to build this innovation platform where all the people on the platform benefit from it. You know, for example, our corporate partners, which is now 500 corporate partners from all around the world, joined the platform to see what we can do to help them during their digital transformation. When we build these innovation platforms together with our corporate partners, we try to make it open so all the corporate partners will benefit. You know, for example, when in Stuttgart, Mercedes asked us to come there and build a mobility and IoT platform called Startup Autobahn, we agreed with the CEO and board of directors, Ola, that we would invite Porsche, Volkswagen, and tier one suppliers like Bosch and ZF and Motherson and Deutsche Telekom, because as more corporate partners are in the platform, you get more exciting startups to move to Stuttgart to do proof of concept and then implement their technology. So these different corporate partners sort of become our advisory board and help us navigate through disruption and innovation. And I am very, very proud to say we have 19 different disciplines or vertical, and our latest one is Maritime in Antwerp that we are doing the opening today. It will be great to work with different shipping line, different ship owners, the Port of Antwerp, to pursue all innovation for safety, for sustainability, and making the supply chain, which has been a little bottleneck lately in the world, more efficient and more productive. Again, we have been able to build these innovation platforms in Silicon Valley, Shanghai, Singapore, Paris, Munich, and we are super, super excited about our initiative together with you in Antwerp. And as I always say, this open innovation platform, it's not plug and place platform. It's everyone that is here in this room right now. And we would listen to you and we will try to see what is the greatest interest, what is the greatest technology needs. And we try to navigate and bring the best startups from around the world to Antwerp. I hope you have a great day today and look forward to visiting you in person soon. Again, coming to you from Silicon Valley, California. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Saeed, for giving us some insights about Plug and Play and for doing the opening keynote. My name is David, together with my colleague Salar, who launched today our session, our virtual pleasure to give you some more insights into the Plug and Play Maritime program, and also later on introduce our founding partners who are all here today, which we are very excited about. So if we, let me give you a quick glimpse into what the Plug and Play Maritime program will be all about. So if we jump to the next slide, there is an overview of the Plug and Play Maritime program. There's a lot of text here, so I'm not going too much into detail. So what are we trying to achieve with the platform? Of course, Plug and Play Maritime is an open innovation platform focus on the maritime industry. It will be located in Antwerp, Belgium. And what do we actually trying to do here? So it's a tailored platform. We try to focus on the matchmaking between our founding partners, focus on co-creation. We want to offer a proof of concept and pilot project framework. And of course, we also have a batch structure similar to an acceleration program. Our objective is really to attract not only local, best international technologies and startups in the maritime space and beyond, because as Saeed just showed you, we have lots of different verticals and industries. So we also want to see which technologies, which activities are also applicable in the maritime space, but maybe coming from the mobility sector or maybe from fintech or insurtech. So this is also what we want to explore here with this program. We also want to build a really strong local and international ecosystem. Together with our founding partners, we want to involve other organizations, startups, venture capital companies, governments, NGOs, and also academia. And we also in regards to the plug-and-play offering, we want to have a global access, and we also want to connect the plug-and-play maritime program to our all over the world, and especially in Europe. What you see here are our main stakeholders, and of course, main stakeholders on the right-hand side are technology companies, scale-ups, startups, and on the left-hand side, our corporate partners. The job of Plug and Play is to moderate this ecosystem, and of course, we have other players in there as well, as I just mentioned, MVCs, universities, governments. So this is basically a neutral ecosystem, and we hope to also let it grow with new partners joining the platform. If we jump to the next slide, we will see some of our activities and some of our services we are going to provide. There's a lot of content here, and of course, partners are going to experience this over the next weeks, months, and years. But I thought it makes sense to show you a little bit how our program looks like, and also how our scouting looks like. So if we jump into the next slide, I'll show you a little bit how the program structure looks like. And what you see here is one full program cycle. Today, we're going to start with our virtual launch, and at the same time, also kick off the first scouting phase together with our founding partners. So we have collected their interest areas, their search fields, and with that information, we're trying our very best to attract the best startups and scale-ups and bring them in touch with them. And the next big event and the next big format will be in October. It will be our very first selection day and also the official launch of the program. And fingers crossed, it will be a physical event. After the selection day, we move to the actual so-called program phase. So this is where the work begins. We want to focus on the proof of concepts, the projects between the founding partners and the selected startups and scale-ups that have been voted into the program. And the first program will end with our Expo Day in March 2022, and then we immediately kick off the second program. This is what you see here, one full program cycle. And to give you some ideas how we scout and how we find startups, I have brought one example. It is called a deal flow session. It's if we jump to the next slide, this is how we collect information and interest areas from our partners, and then it's basically our job, the job of our team, our venture team, to find the best technologies on a global scale. And we have several feedback loops to filter down the missing ones with the input of the founder. And eventually, in point number 4, what you see here, introduce them in a face-to-face or virtual session in order to see where we have room for collaboration, maybe potential for projects, a proof of concepts. And this is what we will try to achieve. But it doesn't end here. After the deal flow sessions, our objective is really to help to move into actual proof of concepts. Of course, we want to generate learnings about new technologies, but eventually we also want to see implementations into products, into services or processes, and of course also investments or acquisitions into the startups and scale-ups we in. And with that, and jumping into the next slide, I have the pleasure to announce today our 5 founding partners, and I'm very excited to have them with us today. And we have a total of 5 what we call the founding partners. They are the founding fathers of the program, so to say. And before I hand it over to our very first speaker, I will show you a little bit how the partner structure works on the Plug and Play Maritime program. So what you see here is if Plug and Play launches a new office, we always have at least a certain amount of what we call the founding partners. In the case of the Plug and Play Maritime program, we are very excited and proud of having 5 founding partners, but you also see a 6th one here. And we're also excited to have a very small announcement today, because we also hope that the Belgian Defense will also join the Maritime program, because it would bring a lot of value also to this ecosystem, especially focused on the maritime industry. Later on, we also open it to ecosystem and anchor partners, so in order to attract more corporations to make the platform strong and with a global reach. With that, I have the pleasure to hand it over to our very first speaker from the city of Antwerp. And I would ask Claude to unmute and turn on his camera, and then to hear from him for the next 2 to 3 minutes about his insights, about giving introductions into the city of Antwerp, and also why they think this is a good initiative, and also what they like to get out of this initiative. Claude, if you can hear us, I would ask you, perfect, that's great.
Normally you should be, good afternoon. Normally you should be able to see and to hear me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to address you at today's launch of Plug and Play Antwerp. And the goals are clear. Together with the other founding partners, the Port of Antwerp, Compagnie Maritime Belge, Euronav, DXC Technology, the city of Antwerp wants to realize a safer, a smarter, and a greener maritime industry, and not only for Antwerp itself, but for the entire sector. We all know that the human body is made up of 65% of water, and our planet is covered for 70% with it. But it is, however, with 100% certainty that water, rivers, and seas have always been and will always be at the core of our economy. Regions close to water stood at the center of human development since the very beginning of civilization. Look at Egypt, with its impressive pyramids and equally impressive traffic jams, like we witnessed during the blocking of the Suez Canal. From the Nile Delta to every corner of the world, cities emerged around the shores. Every major settlement was founded in the proximity of water. Rome, next to the Tiber, London to the Thames, Paris to the Seine, and Antwerp to the Schelde. But not only shells and starfish, but also new ideas, products, and skills washed ashore. Ports became places where people exchanged goods, cultures, and techniques. Ports became brokers of innovation. Not later than last week, the University of Oxford published a report titled, "Cities Could Be More Important Post-Pandemic, Not Less." And citing one of its contributors, the report stated, I quote, "Cities are going to be more important as hubs of innovation. Livable cities brimming with culture and experience will continue to be the engine of economic growth and job creation for a long time to come." End of quote. It has always been our belief that cities take up an important role in the future, and that is why for many years our city of Antwerp has been firmly committed to stimulate ecosystems of innovation. Our city council wants to act as a bridge builder between companies, human and financial resources, and knowledge institutions such as universities. These connections should result in the enhancement of digital innovation, circular economy, and creative industries. 3 key areas in which Antwerp wants to pioneer business-wise. And today, the city of Antwerp takes its role as bridge builder one bridge further. And we are very proud to be part of and to be the home base for Plug and Play, which is aimed at one of the greatest challenges of our time, battling climate change. Plug and Play will support technological advancement in the shipyard industry. It will research and design vessels that can shatter the greatest waves, but also shield our vulnerable environment. Ships that are more fuel efficient, less polluting, and fit for an age of ever-growing global trade. Antwerp, ladies and gentlemen, once had a very flourishing dockyard industry. Plug and Play could forge a sequel. So, on behalf of the city of Antwerp, I'd like to sincerely thank the other founding fathers and the Plug and Play organization for starting on this exciting new journey with us. And though I'm not an anarchist, I would very much like to start a revolution in maritime technology with all of you. So I would end by saying, let's plug and play. Thank you.
We also later on hear you at our panel. So this is very exciting. I would ask you to turn off your camera, and then we can continue with our next speaker. And I hope Erwin is here from the Port of Antwerp. Erwin, if you can hear us, feel free to unmute and turn on your camera. I also heard there were some technical issues, so we'll give you a couple of more seconds. Otherwise, we would ask to join us after the introductory part. Okay. And I would recommend we, for the moment, we skip the Port of Antwerp. Okay, it's not working for Erwin. I just reading here. And then I would suggest we continue. Here we go. I think, Erwin, for once, we're able to see you. Okay, then I would suggest we try it in a couple of minutes again. I would ask to skip this slide and we can continue with Alexander. Alexander, if you can hear me, turn on your camera and also unmute.
Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, the stage is yours. I'm happy to hear about yourself and CMB and also your involvement in the Plug and Play Maritime program. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Hi, everyone. Joining us today on this official launch. It's a great day. My name is Alex. I'm the CEO of CMB, and CMB is a shipping and clean tech company. We actually want to be at the forefront of the energy revolution by developing future-proof marine and industrial applications. And the way we do it is by using green hydrogen and green ammonia as fuels for our new ships, trucks, trains, and gensets. And as a proud founder of Plug and Play Maritime, we're really looking forward to engaging with all of you, with dynamic startups, with passionate scale-ups to revolutionize the maritime and heavy industry. And we also believe that thanks to Plug and Play, CMB can accelerate its growth and its transformation plan. So very happy to see all of you and looking forward to discussing today and later on about all the exciting challenges in the shipping world. Thank you.
And next up, we have Hugo. Hugo, if you can hear me, feel free, turn on your microphone and also turn on your camera. And then the stage is yours. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, David, how are you? Very excited to be here. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Hugo and I'm the CEO of Euronav. But first, I would like to give you a little bit of an introduction into Euronav. So we are the largest independent crude transportation shipping company. We have 75 vessels, 75 large tankers that can hold 1 or 2 million barrels at a time. So very, very big beast. What is also important about Euronav is that we are completely vertically integrated. That means we don't outsource anything. We are involved in the construction of the ships. We operate them when they're delivered to us. We crew them, we maintain them, and very often we upgrade them during the average lifetime of 20 years. It's true that in the past we did not see innovation as a critical stumbling block of the company. We were just selecting the technologies that we thought would give us an advantage. In the last 3 or 4 years, this has dramatically changed, not only because the regulations are changing rapidly, but also because we believe that we have a vital role to play in the world we live today. Shipping, contrary to what many people think, is the cleanest way of transporting any type of goods. 80% of everything that we consume will be transported by a ship at some point, and when measured on a ton per kilometer or per mile, transported, nothing, absolutely nothing beats shipping in terms of limited carbon emissions. So the choice that we have is to be satisfied with the position that we have and believe that everything will come to us naturally, or to believe that we can do so much more, so much better, and that is where innovation plays and will play a big role. And obviously we position ourselves in the second camp. So our vision and mission can be simply defined as being a leader and therefore an accelerator of the adoption of the latest technology that will help us meet the challenges of the future. The biggest challenge that we have in front of us is obviously decarbonization, but it's not the only one. We also want to continue to be a very safe, if not the safest company, and we want to be sustainable and therefore relevant for all of our stakeholders. When we talk about innovation, it's from small things such as energy saving device on board, and obviously the big picture is zero emission fuels, which we touch on the energy side. And of course, we have and we always have this strong focus on how we operate our ships. Safety always comes first. So it is about stop wasting the resource that we consume, be it on the energy side, be it on the spare parts that we need to maintain our ships, but also on the food we bring to our ships. Technology, digitalization, systems, big data, artificial intelligence, robots, virtual reality, augmented reality, all of that are coming to our industry, and we want to embrace all those technologies. The plug-and-play platform will help us doing that. We know that we cannot create and invent everything ourselves, so we want to partner with entrepreneurs, startups, and scale-ups. We want to conduct pilots with them for our mutual benefits, and we know that many of those technologies that already exist in other industries may have a maritime application. That's why we like plug and play, because they are involved in so many other verticals. If I heard well, 19 verticals in total. So partnership is the key word, and we are super excited to be a founder of this initiative and this new plug and play vertical, the maritime vertical. Thank you.
Next up, we have Eric. Eric, can you hear me?
I can hear you, David. Can you?
Wonderful. We can perfectly hear and see you. So I'll hand it over to you to give us an introduction of yourself and also DXC, who has a very long history working with plug and play. Thanks for having you today.
Thank you very much, David, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Maas. I'm Sales Manager, General Manager of DXC Technology. And allow me to start thanking the organization for this great virtual launch of the Plug and Play Maritime platform. Together with the other partners, CMB, Euronav, Port of Antwerp, and the City of Antwerp, I'm truly excited and honored to be part of this. And I'm sure you already felt the passion and the impact of this launch. And this is actually 100% in line with what we as DXC Technology represent. I received over time many questions about, hey Eric, what is DXC all about? Now, I can provide you 80 slides and talk about, we are a global IT service provider. We do digital transformation. We have 130,000 people worldwide, servicing more than 70 countries, which is all true, but can be summarized more simply. DXC is delivering excellence for our clients and our colleagues. We as DXC help companies running their mission-critical systems and operations while modernizing IT, optimizing data architectures, ensuring security and scalability across public, private, and hybrid cloud. At DXC, we use the power of technology to build better future for our customer, colleagues, environments, and communities. And we help our customers delivering business impact. And actually, at the core, we are actually here to create impact. Impact to the customers, impact to the colleagues, impact to the citizens, and impact to the market and industry. Now, allow me to share my view on the impact that we can bring together. I think together with the Plug and Play network, we can surround and guide the industry-specific startups to drive innovation. Innovation for where it matters most. Innovation that can help create a more sustainable future, and innovation to drive the market changes and the market challenges. We really need those startups for more disruptive ideas in order to stretch the limits for innovation, open up ideas, and find the right solution for your business challenges. Now, additionally, we as DXC can integrate this innovation with our offerings across the DXC enterprise technology stack, meaning consulting, analytics, applications, cloud, IT outsourcing, and modern workplace services. The purpose for DXC is really to deliver the end-to-end innovative opportunities for new and existing clients at lower costs, greater speed, and scaling up rapidly. My catchphrase here is always think big, act small, but scale rapidly. Now, what about the location, people? Antwerp, unbelievable, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And okay, I'm trying to avoid being chauvinistic while hiding my Antwerp accent, but we do have the Antwerp Harbor here as our playfield for innovation. Incredible. Now, this platform and collaboration is therefore for DXC of strategic importance for making the maritime sector more sustainable in Antwerp, Belgium, and beyond. Through research, development, and innovation, the entire Plug and Play Maritime Initiative contributes to the pioneering role that the Port of Antwerp plays as the port of the future. So, in summary, we as DXC are, first of all, extremely proud to be part as a founding partner or the partner of the Plug and Play platform. We are looking forward going beyond the limits of innovation to create impact, and impact that will deliver excellence to the industry, customers, and citizens. So feel free to reach out to me, to my DXC colleagues, to discuss potential innovative idea, while I wish you a great continuation of the virtual launch, and let's talk soon, hopefully in real life. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. Erwin, it's now your turn. Looking forward to hearing from your side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, greetings from the Port of Antwerp, a port that is known to be a very innovative port, second port in Europe, top 20 in the world with regard to container handling, 20 billion euros in added value and 140,000 jobs. Now, why do I say that? Because this economic powerhouse has a very clear mission. And the mission is we want to be, as a home port, vital for a sustainable future, which means that we believe that we can be a catalyst, a lever in finding answers to the big societal and global challenges we face, most predominantly the climate change and the associated energy transition. In regard to the latter, that's a common theme for this entire planet, but also for the maritime industry. This energy transition is a key theme for the next couple of decades. And since we're not just a port, but also the home port of the second largest petrochemical cluster on the planet, and also one of the 5 biggest bunkering ports in the world, we see fertile ground here to facilitate finding solutions by building ecosystems that are innovative and try to find innovative ways to get the challenges transformed into opportunities. So that's why we are proud and happy to be a founding partner of the Plug and Play ecosystem, the maritime ecosystem that is about to start here. And what do we expect? Or that's something we should embrace, or that we should position in our innovation strategy as the Port of Antwerp, we strongly believe, first of all, in proof of values, which is trying to prove that a technology has a value instead of just trying to prove that the technology works. And in doing so, or in facilitating that, we have already taken the decision years ago to open up the port as an innovation platform, basically inviting promising technologies to demonstrate the value and the market readiness, or to help them to speed up the market readiness. Also, we believe in an outside-in innovation approach where we have tons of use cases and that we are trying to be inspired by ecosystems of startups, scale-ups, academia, established companies, and invite them to join local ecosystems at the innovation level. Which brings me to the final point. Why is this also important for this region? Well, the region Antwerp has been climbing in the index from the Financial Times, the index looking at global cities for the future, has been rising steadily since 2015. And part of that was due to the fact that we have been investing in likewise innovation ecosystems, such as the Beacon. And the plug-and-play maritime ecosystem will complement that, and they will reinforce one another. And for plug-and-play maritime, it's important to be here because here you have fertile ground, which means that the challenges or the opportunities that are here present are something that also exists somewhere else. But here you have the right stakeholders sitting around the table. You have a port, you have very strong maritime players, you have a city that is very much focused on innovation, you have a technology provider. All of that comes together, and these are complementary partners. And what is being developed over here as the world as a scale, which makes it very interesting for anyone to be involved here in plug-and-play Maritime Antwerp. So I'm very much looking forward to the innovation, the ideas, the inspiration, and the proof of values that come out of this partnership. And we were very much interested to see this scale from Antwerp and make us more innovative on a global level. Thank you very much, and let's talk.
I have the pleasure now to hand it over to my colleague Salar. First of all, thanks to all our founding partners for being here on stage. Some of you are now being present in the panel, but a big thanks and shout out to you also to be involved today. We're very happy and very excited to have you on board and work with you in the future. And with that, over to Salar. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you to our founding partners for this great introduction of themselves. I'm very excited to start today's panel, about how the different players of our to use the platform for themselves, what kind of priorities are on the agenda. I think we have heard a couple of interesting topics that are not only relevant within the maritime industry, but in general when it comes to sustainability and safety in many other industries. I think it's brilliant to see that there's so many overlaps between the maritime industry and the modern world of innovation that we want to connect. The maritime world is an industry that has always lived from the entrepreneurial spirit. The maritime world is an industry that has always kind of lived off their collaboration. And when we're looking, for example, at the P&I clubs, they have always lived from the topic and the idea of collaboration. And therefore, I'm beyond excited to welcome our guests on stage. First, I would like to start it off with Claude. Claude, you have had a little introduction at the beginning. Then we have Pete. Pete is from the Port of Antwerp. He is in charge of innovation there and has been working with us on a daily basis in order to establish this platform. Alex is also on stage. He has been introduced earlier together with Hugo. And we have, in your face, Henrik on stage as well from DXC Technologies. So good afternoon, gentlemen. Good to have everybody here on stage. Obviously, we're all looking forward to see each other in person, and this is going to happen in October during our physical launch and selection day. So everybody listening, put that mark in your calendars. We're looking forward to having you in Antwerp. To save also a little bit of time, because I think we all have a lot to tell and we are all excited to be here together. Let me start it off with a little opening question towards Claude, because basically starting, I think there's a lot of similarities. Port cities have a lot of history going back. The city of Antwerp is a city where entrepreneurship has already been since day one, basically in the antique times. So the antique entrepreneurs have been already there way before us. So during those times, the city was already attracting merchants and entrepreneurs from all around the world. Can you share some insights with us how the today's standpoint of the city of Antwerp looks like? And I mean, you don't only have the port, you have various other industries. How does that look, and how is this DNA still alive in today's world?
Well, I'll be more than happy to share some thoughts, although I cannot comment on the antique times. I'm not old enough for that, but I'll try to inform you as best as possible. But we all know that the best entrepreneurs are innovators. But innovation is also powered by governments. And GPS, the internet, solar panels, Google search algorithm were all backed also by government funding. And we, at the City of Antwerp, we take that role very seriously. We foster ecosystems for digital innovation, creativity, and sustainability. And as a city government, we think that we have to provide overall conditions under which all businesses, including traditional and innovative, are able to flourish. And our participation in this program of Plug and Play is an example of that kind of approach. We do inject innovation in the traditional sector, in this case in the maritime sector. And by this, we strengthen it and we make it future-proof, and we also help startups to grow. We do firmly believe in technology as a solution to problems as climate change or pandemics. But since climate change and some others have stressed the point is such an urgency, we really need to speed up innovation. And time is a key issue in our ability to address these problems. Besides, we are also convinced, and everyone knows that, no company can do this on its own. We have to combine forces. And let me give you two examples in our city of Antwerp. BlueChem. BlueChem is the incubator for sustainable chemistry, and it's a very good example. Antwerp, you will know that, hosts the biggest chemical cluster in Europe, and therefore we are confronted with a lot of CO2 emission. At BlueChem, new startups are laying the foundation of a more sustainable future. CO2 capture, reuse, and storage is the main topic. In the Port of Antwerp, several big chemical companies are working together on this field as well. And next to BlueChem, and I think Erwin referred to it, Antwerp, the city of Antwerp, also invested in the Beacon. And the Beacon is an innovation hub for Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. The Beacon focuses on smart city, industry, and not in the least on port and logistics. Port of Antwerp is for that reason a great partner in the Beacon. And that's why the Beacon and Plug and Play will find each other to encourage innovation in this most wonderful city and of course the most wonderful port, which is part of it. I hope by that I have answered your question.
Very much. Thank you, Claude. Thank you so much. Transitioning right over to someone very well connected to you, to Pete. Pete, first of all, thank you for joining us today. Great to have you with us. Been one of the main pillars together with the other founding partners in establishing this platform together with us. So excited to have you here. Question goes out to you. I mean, Antwerp is the second largest port in the world. So you have a huge responsibility for, in Europe. I was just a little bit too excited for you, too much in love for Antwerp. So Antwerp is the second largest port in Europe, still a very honorable title. You have a lot of responsibility towards your clients when it comes to now, as Saeed mentioned it at the beginning, there was some delays in the supply chain, the Suez Canal, many difficult challenges. The ports are becoming more and more like kind of the enabler of fast and secure supply chain. What are your tech focus areas, and what is basically the challenges or the expectations, especially from your clients within the port when it comes to innovation and technology?
Okay, thank you, Salar. First of all, I'm really excited, and it's really a pleasure to be here. I think a really promising initiative. The potential is huge. I will explain that later on. I think we only need to grab it. I think ports have always been incubators of innovation historically, but let's not look too much to the past. Of course, exciting relationship and symbiosis with the city has always been there. Also, very interesting topic. But let's focus on what have we been doing in the last years. And I think in the last decade, Port of Antwerp became a leading smart port. What does it mean, smart ports? And because some ports say they are the smartest. But I think for us that means that it's about optimizing the flows of goods and information. More than ever, having fast, digital, transparent data exchange is key in the global supply chain. I think that the incidents which are happening last year and recently are proving that the companies which were most digitized, and we can prove that, have been affected the least by the COVID crisis and by the interruptions in the global supply chain. The second element is safe and secure operations, which is a critical element, not only in the maritime, but also in the chemical industry. And for that, besides the exciting potential within ports, it's so nice to be able to be part of that, and the emerging exponential growth of technology these days give us almost unlimited possibilities in going to that next level where we use advanced data analytics, smart cameras, drones, smart ships, digital twins, name it, to really facilitate and make that port more safe, more efficient, and more secure. But like I already mentioned, one of our key strategic priorities is sustainable growth and sustainability. And for that, we brought in also a couple of years 5 strategic development goals, which were developed in the United Nations framework. It's on well-being, it's on economic growth, infrastructure, sustainable communities, and climate. And to realize that, you need to set up building partnerships. And I think the event today is proving that that will be working. So what is the role of innovation in that? We call it innovation with a purpose, where for these major challenges, where the Port of Antwerp, in all honesty, is sometimes part of the problem if we look to energy transition or climate or mobility, but we would like to be part of the solution. And we will think 2 things there. We cannot do it alone, so we need to work together. And we need technology for that. So that's the 2 focus areas we will do. Like mentioned, we are an open innovation platform, so we are supporting startups, scale-ups, technology companies to develop and mature their products within that complex, large environment, so they can come faster to an operational implementation. And we have been building an echo drone, the hydrogen tugboat, and also together with the people from CMB, our Apica digital twin, a plastic vacuum cleaner, nanoplastic, Rombit, COVID wearable, and so on. So that's really the acceleration we need, and we really like to support. And we believe that plug and play, the Maritime Innovation Platform, is there an important trigger to have that global focus, because I think we have been doing a pretty good job in Western Europe, the Benelux. We know our areas there, we supported startups, but building that international and insourcing international startups to Antwerp and bring Flemish or Belgium startups to that international level, personally I believe that will be a major trigger for the platform. So we are in the process of merging with the Port of Zeebrugge. We try to position ourselves more and more on the international fora. Last week we hosted the World Port Conference, IAPH. We have a strong partnership with the World Economic Forum. So we believe together with Plug and Play that will further accelerate our global orientation and position more than ever.
We are very much excited for this, and congratulations on this huge step. I think you mentioned this quite well, and we hear it all the time as well. Innovation is also collaboration, and we will hear it at the end from Dan as well within his keynote. It is really the world of opening up and letting external knowledge inside in collaborating with young minds and young entrepreneurs and teaching them from your experience and learning from their new perspective. And I'm really excited to see what we can develop within the next months here together with the partners and the new partners who are interested in joining. Speaking about entrepreneurs and collaboration with entrepreneurs, I would like to hand it over to Alex, who as such is for me a definition of an entrepreneur, since he is not afraid of testing and failing and finding out and going for new, together with his colleagues, his teams and the group. I think it's the CMB group has a very entrepreneurial spirit. Alex, you yourself, you certainly live and believe in innovation. I would love to hear from your perspective, also looking into new energies. You mentioned green ammonia and green hydrogen. How does the world of innovation look for you, specifically for you personally?
Well, the world of innovation has been looking very lonely for us for a long time, because we've been trying to pioneer these new technologies around hydrogen, but we had to do it by ourselves, because unfortunately there were not a lot of alternative solutions available to us. But thankfully, over the last couple of years, we see more and more people that are interested in decarbonizing our industry and decarbonizing the heavy industry. And the reason I'm sitting here today, can you hear me? I broke up?
Yep, we can hear you.
No, what I wanted to say is that the reason I'm sitting here today is that we think that we need to engage faster and with many more parties to start to accelerate the use of hydrogen, the use of ammonia, the use of alternative fuels on board of our ships. We have a fantastic platform. We have 100 floating laboratories, so we can basically bring in anybody who has an innovative solution on board of our ships. And we need to go fast, we need to go much quicker than what we have done over the last couple of years. So fast tracking the innovation, Salar, that's exactly what Plug and Play is about. And so we're really looking forward to engaging with a wide variety of people. And what you can see here in this group of founding partners is a lot of history, a lot of establishment, very large companies, but I think all with a mindset of wanting to accelerate the path to, for instance, decarbonization, but also many other challenges. And that's where I think you guys will assist us. And I'm sure a lot of people that are listening today are eager to start talking to us, and same goes for us.
Thank you, Alex. Absolutely. And I mean, we remember the time you visited us in Stuttgart, saw the mobility platform and said, this we need for maritime. Let's really rebuild that. And I think today you summarized this as well. We have mindsets here who are really ready to change, ready to open. I loved your kind of connection to the 100 laboratories. That's why I would like to, I mean, it's great to see also how the leadership of all of the companies and the founding partners here have been involved from day one, transitioning now to Hugo, who is a CEO of a stock listed company, one of the largest tanker owners in the world. Being involved, I mean, you are a perfect example that it's not only kind of, or it's the same way important as to have innovation as a priority from top down as the same way around from bottom up. You have been involved from day one as well, together with Alex and every other founding partner, being actively involved into the direction and into the content. Can you tell us a little bit about basically how you, from your perspective of a listed company, of a larger scale, I know that what your priorities are and how you are kind of also transitioning the spirit towards the whole team within Euronav?
Yeah, no, very much so. You know, the mistake that we could do is to believe that because we are a stock listed company and we are the largest of a tiny segment, quite frankly, we know how to do things perfectly and certainly from the top of the organization. What I like in your question is, you know, top down, bottom up. I would say that at Euronav it doesn't really matter. We believe that we have a collection of talented people. And we try to promote entrepreneurship as much as we can. So innovation is not really a separate department. It's not something, a silo where people look at them and believe that that's where the fun goes on. Innovation is fully embedded in the company, and in fact belongs to the business owners. So I would say that everyone in the company has a role to play. And I also like the image of Alex when he said, I have 100 labs. Well, of course, we have a lot of labs, we have a lot of ships, and on board the ships, there are also a collection of talented people. And, in my intro, I insisted on the fact that it was very important for us to be vertically integrated. In the maritime space, this is not always the case. A lot of people, they will outsource their services and they will lose a little bit the proximity that we can have with the people that are on board the ship. Now, when I talk about proximity, you all understand that those ships are deployed all over the world, so it's not easy to be in touch with those people. But they know, they have a lot of information, they have a lot of knowledge that is critical to a company when it comes to innovation. If I give you an example, the other day, I was contacted by a venture capital firm who was backing a small startup, still small startup, who wanted to develop technology around crew payroll. Now, when you're thinking about payroll, there are thousands of applications that exist, but our challenge is a little bit more difficult than the challenges of the others, because in the maritime space, we have, for instance, at Euronav, 56 nationalities, and all those guys, all those women, because we do have some women on board, they need to get paid at the end of the month, and they need to get paid in their currency, and they need to get paid in their country. And guess what? The social law are not at all the same that if they were working onshore. So it's a very complex issue that some people, some entrepreneurs, some innovators are trying to tackle. Now, my first reflex was to just send that message to the person responsible for crew payroll. And I must say it was a little bit a surprise to her. But she said, me? Well, yes, of course, because you know best. Shall we set up a committee at a senior level that would first evaluate what the startup can do for us? Not at all. I mean, we have no time to waste. And therefore, we believe that innovation belongs to the business owners, to every single department. And that's exactly what we intend to do with the startups or the entrepreneurs that are introduced to us by Plug and Play. It's to make the connection with the business and make sure that when they conduct pilot, they are very, very practical pilots, so that we know for sure that the solution that they offer or they present is applicable to our needs and can be scaled up into a full solution.
Great, thank you, Hugo. I think there's plenty of opportunity, and I think your approach is similar to what we've seen in the whole ecosystem, no matter which industry you're looking at, right? So you need to really focus on the business units. You need to engage them and make them also feel responsible for this, because if they do not feel like this responsibility and ownership, which is more important, what the word I was looking for, this ownership, then it's a little difficult to kind of introduce these new technologies and also make progress on these internal challenges that you have.
I fully agree. On top of that, if I may add one thing, is that
Absolutely.
I think it's very exciting for the people who are involved in companies that are so-called very traditional. I mean, shipping has always existed to a certain extent. So I think a lot of people inside Euronav are very excited by this initiative.
Before going over to Henrik, I would like to ask a final question towards, if I may, the traditional players. I know it's not right in this context and in the way your mindset works and in the way the direction of the company goes, but very stereotypical. I think the challenges that at least I've heard from the industry at the moment is also a term of the next generation. Yeah, how can I attract young talent? How can I get young people to join this from the outside very traditional looking industry? I guess is this a challenge for you, and is this also the way you are working currently? Do you feel also new minds and new kind of the new young blood coming into the company?
Well, I can go first if you want.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, let's face it. We transport crude oil, and shipping does not always enjoy the best reputation in the world. So I can tell you that when we're fishing for talents, we need to go the extra mile. And I think that is with this kind of initiative that we go the extra mile and we show people that in fact, whatever prejudice they can have is probably wrong. And in my intro, I insisted on the fact that shipping plays a key role and is probably the cleanest way that we have to transport goods. So we need to change the reputation, and we change the reputation by changing our attitude and adopting all the modern tools to go forward and to make sure that everything we do is sustainable and also very exciting for the people that work for us.
Alex?
Well, if I'm in the same category, let me just say that at CMB, we try to combine the exciting elements of shipping. It's international, it's fast-moving, it's fantastic because it drives the world economy and world trade and hence peace, relationships between countries. But we combine it now with, of course, our clean tech angle, which I think is very exciting for a lot of young people to come in, how to go into the fourth shipping propulsion revolution. So we've gone through many different aspects in the past. It is exciting. And I have, of course, a lot of traction now with young people wanting to come in, but we need to accelerate. I can't stress enough. Time is not on our side, so it needs to go faster. And so we need to attract even more people and even more young companies to collaborate with us.
Thank you, Alex. Pete, do you have to? Would you like to add something to that? I will unmute you 1 second.
Attracting young talented people is for the maritime port industry a major challenge. But I can witness that by positioning yourself, and of course it should not only be words but also doing things, you can attract people. I have several new people, young people in my team who really were interested to work at the Port of Antwerp because they say, yeah, but you guys, you're future oriented, you're building port of the future. So we feel the dynamics which is present there. So besides the fact that doing things, attracting it also means to attract new people.
Thank you, Pete. I think we have a great picture at the moment. We started with the city of Antwerp, with the history of entrepreneurs back into the antique times, going over to the port, the entrepreneurs with the maritime industry. And now I would also like to hear someone who has been silent for the past minutes, a little bit also due to me, but Henrik. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. DXC and Plug and Play have a long-lasting relationship. You were one of the founding members in Stuttgart, where we are shaping together the world of mobility. Not a traditional logistics company. You are not a traditional shipping company. I mean, basically, you are one of the largest IT service market leaders out there. Can you share a little bit on that, what you heard on the one hand side when it comes to the shift of this industry towards an innovative and a more cleaner and modern world, towards the link towards you, your clients, and the technologies that are being kind of needed and where the partners are coming towards you?
Yes, and happy to do that. And again, thanks a lot for inviting me and greetings here from Copenhagen. We have this great relationship, as you talk about, in Stuttgart, and we definitely do also expect that this initiative in Antwerp will have the same impact in shaping the digitization of the maritime world as we have with our relationship in Stuttgart. Also to understand, I mean, joint innovation with startups, with our customers and large industry partners is very much part of our DNA, because it's really enable us to find the right solutions, to work together with our customers to help them grow the market. So this fits very well into the very partner-centric approach that we have. We also talked about what potential we see within the maritime. I mean, I've been working for 8 years with digital innovation at Maersk. I've done some assistant for World Economic Forum on WTO. I worked on an EU Port Collaborative Decision Making Initiative. I think Port of Antwerp were part of that as well. So, and during that basically 8 or 10 years, I mean, it's been clear to me that focus and responsible innovation and digitalization is going to be absolutely critical for all actors here in the maritime industry. I mean, to me, the 2020 is going to be the decade for maritime digitization. I mean, you can be frustrated when you come behind the curtains to see how efficient global trade actually works. You can be surprised it works, and especially when you know all the digital opportunities that is there. So 2020 is going to be the decade for maritime digitization. And an important thing as well is that although many has been focusing on optimizing their internal silos, I mean, the maritime digitization is got to focus on optimizing the full business ecosystem that you're part of. Today, most of the supply chain actors, they are optimizing their own silos, as I said, not improving the ecosystem as a whole. And this will change. I mean, I usually say that the next wave of digital innovation, it will come from turning attention outwards towards optimizing business ecosystems, your customers, your partners, your suppliers, the things that we are going to do business with to create some new services and products. And it both is in the maritime sector as an incumbent. I mean, you need to understand what is the strategies, what are the mechanisms that you need to have to lead across your business ecosystem. But definitely also the startups that will be part of plug and play ecosystem here, they should also understand the opportunities and definitely also the challenges that innovation for the business ecosystem will bring. And let me, to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the business ecosystem, let me have some of the examples that I've been involved in. First of all, I mean, if we take probably my most well-known innovation with Maersk was TradeLens. I mean, the purpose there was really to give the ecosystem around the container transport a shared visibility. So basically from the container was picked up at the depot when it was packed, gated in, loaded, discharged, gated out, stripped, returned to the depot, authorized access in the full ecosystem of the container transport, the visibility they need to optimize their initiative. It's the same thing that for the Port Collaborative Decision Making Initiative I was involved in. It was an EU research project, and I said, Port of Antwerp probably knows about this one here. But it really also had the purpose to ensure a situational awareness among the entities involved in a port call. That was the pilot, there was linesmen, authorities, tugboat, terminal carrier, etc. And that will really give the predictions of when and where movements and services are to be conducted to ensure some just-in-time operations. One of the things I worked with the World Economic Forum on was a white paper that included some recommendation for the industry to realize a common digital global trade identity as signature for all actors involved in global trade. I mean, to me, this is a requirement or a prerequisite for efficient digitization of the maritime ecosystem, that such a global trade identity as signature is actually going to be realized. And just the latest example that fits very well into also the other discussion we have here. I mean, I recently published a chapter on digitization of maritime circular economy. And there I do emphasize the need for a shared digital foundation to support an ecosystem model like the circular economy in the maritime sector. I mean, digitization of the circular economy will be a significant contributor to fighting climate change. And I do hope that we can use this plug and play here in Antwerp here to accelerate maritime circularity, both together with City of Antwerp, with the Port of Antwerp, with Euronav, with CMB, but definitely also all the startups that is in there. So at the end, I mean, we do hope that we facilitate that such ecosystems will inspire and challenge the plug and play startups, as well as the maritime incumbency in Antwerp. And remember, DXC, we are happy to co-innovate. We are going to guide, we can mature, we can scale your innovations. So please reach out for assistance, both for the gentlemen sitting here, but definitely also for all the startups. Thank you.
Thank you, Henrik. I think that was a brilliant roundup of the topics that we discussed today. I think, first of all, I would like to thank everyone taking the time to come and enjoying this panel. I think I definitely enjoyed this little sneak peek of which direction our platform here in the maritime sector is going, and on which kind of topics we are going to focus, like safety, also sustainability, and circularity, as Hendrik mentioned as well, but also making also the maritime world way more smarter than it is today, and opening the doors for further collaboration with tech companies, young entrepreneurs. So I'm very, very much excited and to start this journey also in a physical way. That's why I would like to also remind again, save this. We will send a save the date out soon. In October, we are going to have the physical launch/selection day in Antwerp, where we're going to select the first batch of startups for the first batch. Talking about startups and tech companies and scale-ups, I would like now to hand it over to my colleagues from the ventures team, Livia Todd and Timo Linnemann, who have been a main part on this side here, building up this platform and in charge of the brilliant minds that are coming to hopefully change the future world of maritime together. Enjoy the show, everyone. It was a pleasure having all of you here, and meet you later on at the networking tables.
Thank you, Saar. A huge welcome also from our side. My name is Livia, and I am here together with my colleague Timo. We are both part of the ventures team in charge of the tech sourcing and investments at Plug and Play. And in the next 30 minutes, we will guide you through the technology deep dive in the maritime innovation. So as we heard from our the maritime industry is going through some huge challenges, and it also needs to adapt to new trends. And our funding partners mentioned that, for example, decarbonization, digitalization, security, safety, communication, and connectivity are some of the key drivers, but also sustainability plays a huge role in the future of maritime. So in the next 30 minutes, it's our pleasure to introduce you to 6 very interesting tech companies that are all here and working very hard to make maritime even safer, even more safe, more connected, and greener.
Yes, from green shipping towards cybersecurity, we are covering a broad range of technologies today, and yeah, the presentations will be split into 3 parts, and the 3 pillars we are covering today are green ships and shipping, safety and inspection, and automated maritime operations and security. And for that, we've invited 6 great companies which will now present their technologies. And yeah, the first topic is about green ships and shipping, and we have 2 companies, Hydrogenous from Germany and Sea Routes from France. And yeah, Hydrogenous technologies allow storage of large amounts of hydrogen. And with that being said, welcome on stage, Raphael.
Perfect. That's good. Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Raphael. I'm head of business development at Hydrogenous. We at Hydrogenous are working on a solution I will present you in a second. Just a short outlook on who we are, where we're standing. We are a company from Erlangen in Germany. We have roughly over 110 employees. We have over 40 patent families filled, so we are trying to protect our technology, of course. We have around 10 systems in operation, giving us data on the technology. And on the right side, over 30 million funding raised, currently in a 3rd funding round. And on the left bottom and right bottom, you see our investors and key partners, where we are quite proud of, but that should be the major topic today. Going forward to what is our vision and where we're coming from. On the left side, you see hydrogen demand worldwide stated by a study from Bloomberg. And you see that hydrogen demand can be significant and can be incredible. So we are looking at very large demand around the world for hydrogen, especially green hydrogen. And on the right side, you see that we can only produce limited amounts of hydrogen in the areas where we need large amounts of hydrogen. And together with this International Energy Agency study, together with the production cost of hydrogen worldwide, That implies that on one side, we can't produce, we will need a lot of hydrogen. We can't produce all of the hydrogen in the areas where we need it, and we can produce it at lower cost in other countries. So that implies that the future of hydrogen will be large-scale transportation based. Going forward to what we are working on. Well, Hydrogenious is focusing on a transportation technology. It's called LOHC, Liquid Organic Hydrogen Carriers. So basically the idea is to overcome the technological challenges of very low temperature liquid transportation, very high pressure, pressurized hydrogen transportation, or very toxic ammonia transportation. So we're trying to take a different approach, and the idea is connecting the hydrogen to carrier molecule, and therefore getting the characteristics of the carrier molecule. It's a chemical process, and on the other side, and then we're able to transport it in existing infrastructure, fuel infrastructure, crude oil, diesel infrastructure, and where we need it, we just have the counter system. We release the hydrogen back again by demand in the areas where it's needed. And then the carrier liquid, the carrier molecule, has the same characteristics back. It's the same molecule back, and then it's being shipped back to the place where it's being loaded before. We can attach to any hydrogen source, so we are quite flexible. We're right now on a technological base, focusing on renewable productions, intermittent production, and that match with our technology. You see around here the major characteristics. It's suitable for any hydrogen source. It's hardly flammable, non-explosive. Toxicity is far below ammonia. We have a high energy density. Existing infrastructure can be reused. It's very competitive. I will show you an example in a second. We have no boil loss or any losses on the way because it's chemically attached to the carrier molecule, suitable in urban areas and very flexible to transport and change mode of transportation. And having that said, the carrier molecule is already commercially available. It's a heat transfer oil. We're just misusing it for our purpose. Moving forward to costs. This is on the left side, or in general on the slide. It's a study from McKinsey for the Hydrogen Council. So an independent study, and it shows ammonia, liquid hydrogen, LOHC, and all around the same cost level. So that implies having the same cost level, but having advantages in handling and safety and toxicity makes us very confident that this technology is a good choice. Moving forward to where we are standing, we have a lot of projects already implemented on container size in the US, in Finland, in Germany, several in Germany. And this is a particular project I would like to point out. It's a hydrogen refuel station just about to start production and start the refueling process. We used underground tanks, which is for hydrogen quite unusual. We can do that with our technology. We can use existing infrastructure, existing tanks, and we implied also logistics. We implied the ISO norm for refueling. Going to what is our outlook, what are our next projects, and we are very proud to be selected also by the European IPCEI program with 2 projects, and actually even in other countries even more projects. It's Green Crane and Blue Danube, which are larger hydrogen infrastructure projects. And on the left bottom, you see our Hector Puffin project, which we are in detail engineering, which is the first out of the box, out of the container system, industrial based, and then based for these other larger projects. And on the right bottom, you see also that we are working on future partnerships in the Middle East, in Chile, in Australia, in terms of sourcing hydrogen. We see ourselves, we have a very ambitious vision. We see ourselves also as a facilitator, matching hydrogen sources with off-takers. And just one further outlook, and that's the last slide. It's not only around logistics, but we also understood that there are a lot of challenges in terms of propulsion of ships. So our technology goes on board. We have a larger pilot with some significant maritime shareholders in terms of bringing our technology on board and then just fueling the liquid to a ship. It's ship-based right now. And then taking off the unfueled liquid and therefore providing all the characteristics of our liquid on board. Thank you. So far, to hydrogenous.
Perfect. Thank you, Raphael, for the very insightful presentation. And next up is Eva from Sea Routes, a startup supporting shipping companies on their journey towards a more sustainable future. Eva, welcome on stage.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, perfect. So let me share my screen. Okay, we're going to try it this way. Okay, perfect. So thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Eva. I'm CEO at Sea Routes. And we help transport and logistics stakeholders save carbon emissions. And I'm going to show you how we do this. Okay. Here we are. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I would like to start first telling you something happening and growing worldwide. The first thing is the freight transport emissions. They are growing, and today they represent 8% of the global CO2 emission. And the transport and logistics stakeholders have to decrease the CO2 emission due to transport. The second thing is the consumers. A third of final consumers have sustainability in mind when they buy a product. And the last thing, and not least, is the regulation pressure, which push the transport stakeholder to reduce their carbon footprint. Therefore, today, the shippers, the carrier, and the freight forwarder have to reduce their transport footprint and their carbon footprint. And for this, they need more visibility, more transparency to optimize the transport policy and to take better decisions. And today is that they don't have so many solutions available on the market. Most CO2 emission calculators are inaccurate. They follow the standard methodology, but they don't implement into the calculation granular data such as distances or take into account the vessel specifics or the speeds. The second point is that they are unactionable. I mean that the shippers or the freight forwarder, they don't have visibility regarding the CO2 emission, and they can compare the scheduled voyages, for example, all the services, all the vessels, and the carrier. So this is typically where Sea Routes help. We have developed an all-in-one solution for shippers and logistic stakeholders to reduce their carbon footprint due to transport. And typically, we give them more visibility thanks to our data to take better decisions and take action. And I'm going to show you how we do this. So typically, we help them on 3 touch points of the procurement process. During the tender, we help them figuring out who's going to be the best carriers, the best, I mean, the greenest one, and the worst players on their procurement process. The second point is on spot. So on a daily basis, when they will want to book that transport to ship their goods from A to B, we will help them to compare the vessels, we will help them to compare the services, and we will help them as well to compare the carrier to choose the best solution and decrease their CO2 emission. And finally, as a last step, this is the report phase, where shippers and freight forwarder will help them, will help shippers as well, to have reports on their CO2 emission for their previous booking on a monthly, on a quarterly, or on a yearly basis. And comparing as well with this report on what they agreed with the carriers in terms of CO2 emissions. Today, we have a lot of stakeholders who trust our solution, and particularly CEVA. We recently built an eco-calculator with CEVA to help their customer have better visibility during the booking on the CO2 emission. We are also working with the Grand Port Maritime of Marseille to help them show their customer that if they go through the Grand Port Maritime de Marseille, they can save carbon emission, as their inland offer will help them decrease the CO2 emission from their transport. Today, we are a team of 7 people to achieve this goal and to help the stakeholder to reduce their CO2 emission. We plan to develop the team this year, by the end of the year, with a strong focus on R&D and on the product as well to develop our solution. And typically, CRAT was created 2 years ago in 2019 as the sea route provider to help the fleet manager and maritime companies optimize their sea routes. And tomorrow, we plan to provide the transport and logistics stakeholder with a big CO2 emission platform to give them better visibility and transparency to better measure, to better compare, and to better their CO2 emissions. And I'm done. If you have any question, my pleasure to answer and help you.
Thank you, Eva. It was a really extensive overview that you just gave us into sea routes. So with that, we would love to move on to the next topic, that is safety and inspection. And in this category, we have actually 2 companies presenting. One of them is Blinko from Germany. Blinko is offering an AI-based analytics solution which ensures crew safety offshore and onshore. We have the founder and CEO, Irman, with us here today. Irman, the stage is yours. Feel free to turn on your camera and the sound, and you can share your slides.
So hi, everyone. My name is Irman. I'm with Blinko, and I'm happy really to introduce you our no-code AI platform for Industry 4.0. I'd like to mention that this is our 4th year since we collaborate with Plug and Play, and I'm really happy to join you here today with this new kickoff. So our platform is an AI platform that connects on one hand side to sensors. So it connects to gas sensors, cameras, microphones, thermal sensors, and all kinds of different sensors to sense and measure things. And on the other hand side, it connects to interactive devices and alerting systems, such as industrial horns, gates, traffic lights, and also displays. And our platform sits in the middle. It's the intelligence that we provide in the middle of these 2 sides. So you can use this platform to automate your manual processes to make them automatic. And now I'll scroll through a couple of examples just to give you an insight. How does that look like in reality? So all these examples are from real clients from production. What you see here is our platform connecting to this camera at bottom left. And on the other hand side, we connect to this LED industrial display. And our intelligence, our platform takes out video from the camera you see here and screens workers at the entrance if they have safety equipment. We screen them for helmets, safety glasses, long sleeves, vests, long short, all kinds of safety equipment you can imagine. And then on top right, we also track individuals on site so that at any point in time where are the people and how many people you have. If you would imagine, if you have 100 cameras on site, you would have a 360-degree view about your production facility. Going to the next case, which is a bit closer to you, is the one where we track and count cargo moving off the ro-ro ship. In this case, a camera is being positioned at top of the ship, and the other camera is being positioned at the entrance into the parking lot. And then we connect also to these gates, so we can automatically check in vehicles as they come off the ship and move to the ship. The next use case focuses on safety of forklift drivers, because oftentimes they drive too close and they cause accidents. So what we do here is we detect the proximity. In case they drive too close, we use industrial horn at bottom left and signal in real time. It's almost like when you're parking your car. It's like beep, 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 beep. That's the kind of solution that we provide at your production site. And last but not least, I'd like to mention is leakage detection. On the right-hand side, you see a wet surface in red, and on the left-hand side, you see like a bluish spot, which means active leakage. And what we do here, once we detect that, we send short message to your phone. So these are all real-time automations for real problems that you all may know very well. What's special about this platform is that all of these use cases you've seen are built with small building blocks of AI. Why is that important? It's important because it's transparent. You know exactly what building blocks are being taken. They're being connected into a solution like drag and drop and clicking around, and it's easy to customize them. So if there's anything specific, we can easily customize, or you can customize yourself. This is one example solution. I won't go into details. What's important is that we have, it's not just the idea. We have a lot of customers who work with us. I believe you know a lot of these names and brands. And we have them using our platform both on using ready-to-use solutions in safety space, but also creating their own solutions and improving their own products. So to wrap it up, for whom is this platform and who should reach out to us? If you're building AI applications, or if you want to improve your own products, so innovation, strategy departments, this platform is going to help you with building blocks of AI, so you don't need any internal AI expertise. We bring them to your doorstep so you can use them and improve your own products. These are ready-to-use components. And on the other hand side, if you're an operational manager, if you're someone in operations, we are happy to offer you a ready-to-use solution built with these building blocks, which you can just purchase off the shelf and start using tomorrow. So thanks a lot for your time and attention. I'm happy to answer any questions privately or via email.
Thank you, Irman. Yes, so as Irman said, just a note to the audience, feel free to ask any questions that you might have. And then at the end of the presentations, we will call up again the founders of the companies, and they are more than happy to answer the questions that you have. So the next company in the safety and inspection category is Flyability. Flyability developed the drone inspection system, which allows them to detect risks and leaks, to be it on ship or at the port. And we have Junio with us here today. Junio, can you hear us? The stage is yours.
So my name is Junio Valerio Palomba. I'm the sales director for the EMEA team for Flyability. And it's my pleasure to be here today with you at the Plug and Play Maritime event to present our solution for confined spaces inspections. A little bit about Flyability. Flyability, it's a fast-growing small-medium enterprise based in Lausanne, Switzerland. The company was established 7 years ago, and this is already the second product that we launched on the market. Over the past 7 years, we've managed to collect more than 700 customers that deploy on a daily basis a fleet of more than 1,200 drones from the offshore oil fields of Norway to those in Australia, going through refineries in the Mediterranean, mines in Australia, and several other industrial facilities like harbors and ships alike. We didn't do this by ourselves. We're helped by a network of 50 strong partners spread across the globe. An important clarification is that Flyability is an OEM. We are indeed responsible for the production and the generation of the know-how and the technology that goes with it, but we're not an inspection company. Speaking of inspection company, this is a fantastic example that comes to us from one of our many partners in Brazil. And if it's true, and I believe it is, that an image is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth at least 1,000. This is a fantastic representation of the capabilities that our drone has in confined spaces. In this case, you see the pilot operating from the outdoor of a ballast tank. and essentially being able to access the facility without any need for entry in the most dangerous part of the ship. 99% of the drones specifically are designed to work in outdoor areas. Ours instead is specifically designed to work in confined spaces where the risks are incredibly higher. Specificities of our drone technology include use of a carbon fiber cage to protect for impacts, use of sensors to navigate and substitute the GPS signal, which is obviously lacking, high-grade lighting developed with the key industrial players at the core. The key objective of the technology is to capture visual data to identify and characterize defects such as cracks, leaks, pitting, and other types of corrosion that can compromise the integrity of the ship and other structures. The key value proposition of our technology, it's really threefold. First of all, and most importantly, it's about improving safety. It is a sad reality of the maritime and shipping sector that very often confined spaces inspections lead to deaths. And our technology can provide a solid alternative for completely replacing the need for human entry in most confined spaces. Secondly, it can significantly cut down, reduce downtimes when inspecting assets. And last but not least, in terms of cost, both the capex and the opex related to implementing structures like scaffolding or rope access are completely eliminated or significantly reduced because of the use of drone technology. Here we're presenting just a snapshot of another very interesting and relevant case study related to the inspection of an oil cargo tank. And again, if we focus on the three main characteristics, on the three main outcomes and benefits to the technology, you realize that just in terms of timing, for instance, the difference is quite staggering, going from 2 days with the drone compared to 10 days needed for the traditional inspections, and an opportunity cost sort of avoid loss of revenues of $2 million by using the drone technology instead of the traditional means of inspections. I'd like to leave you with an extract from these specific inspections, and again a reflection on the fact that confined space fatalities are all too familiar to the shipping industry. And according to the International Transport Workers Federation, just over in the last few years, just over the past 20 years, more than 145 people have lost their life while inspecting confined spaces in the maritime industry. And an alarming 34 workers have died just over the past 48 months. So this is very much a plague that it's affecting the entire sector. And we believe that our technology represents a solid established reality that can help prevent a lot of these deaths. We'd like to conclude also sort of with one of the most important endorsements that we've received in the industry by one of the largest players, by Bureau Veritas Marine Offshore. At the end of the day, the key value proposition of a technology like a drone has to be the quality of the data captured. And here we have a fantastic endorsement from the Director of New Technologies at Bureau Veritas Marine Offshore, where essentially you can read by yourself the endorsement in terms of the quality of the data that can be captured with our drone. Organizations like BV Marine are leading the charge, but it is important also that this is followed by the likes of ship owners and also an organizational and a legislation level. I'm leaving you with a few snapshots of the kind of defects that can be captured with our drone. I'm sure you can appreciate the quality, the resolution of the 4K camera, the amount of lighting, and the crispness of the image is really a testament to the kind of inspections that can be performed with our drone. These are our contact details. Feel free to reach out to me right now or after the event, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A session at the end of this very interesting event. Thank you, Timo. Thank you, Livia.
Thank you, Junio, for the exciting demonstrations that you showed us. We actually have a question for you from Bart, who is with Euronav. And the question goes as follows. Is there any EX version to perform cargo tank inspections on tanker vessels in a non-gas-free status?
So I had a bet running on this, and I just won 50 euros because I knew that this would be the first question. Unfortunately, asking for an ATEX drone is a bit like asking for dehydrated water. It's a very difficult engineering challenge to achieve. And although this is something that we get asked very often, there is not an ATEX version of the Helios 2. In fact, there is no ATEX version of any drone. We have, however, put in place a number of systems and recommendations that can limit the risk of explosion when using this kind of technology, and we would be happy to share this at the first available opportunity.
Thank you, Junio. Actually, there is also another question for you in the chat, but I'm afraid we don't have now enough time to answer that. So feel free just to answer to Pascal in the chat or also privately.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Junio.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, now coming to the third topic we're covering today, automated maritime operations and securities. And for that, we are having two great companies presenting their technologies, Azimuth and Sidome. And yeah, starting with Azimuth, they have developed a software that enables autonomous shipping. But let's get more insights from Andy. Andy, welcome on stage.
Thank you, Livia and Timo. Thank you for the PNP group. We are Azimuth Autonomy, and we are building software technology for autonomous boats, ships, vessels. You may have seen this in the news. 2 weeks ago, there was an attempt to cross the Atlantic in this futuristic-looking vessel over here, going from the United Kingdom to the United States. And 10% of the way into its journey, it encountered an unforeseen failure, and they had to go retrieve the vessel. When I talk about autonomy applied to the maritime space, there's many different levels of autonomy that I'm talking about. In the largest ship types, autonomy takes the form of a decision assistance function, where predictions and minor corrective actions, recommendations to the navigation crew are given in order to increase the safety of navigating a ship. I don't believe we'll ever be able to replace the navigational crew on board a ship. Going down in size into workboats, many use cases are emerging in partially unmanned workboats, where part of their operation is autonomous and the other part falls back on remote command and control centers. Around the world, there are some early stage efforts on developing urban passenger ferries. The idea for those would be to be fully autonomous as well. And finally, you might have seen more of those, autonomous drone boats. They're used in offshore surveillance and in bathymetry. Now, with all these applications of autonomous boats and vessels, how can we launch them while ensuring that they're robust and that they're safe? And we don't want to run into scenarios like the one we've seen in the example before. Coming from the autonomous driving industry, there is one thing that our industry had learned before, which is the need to extensively simulate these systems millions of times and expose them to all the failure scenarios and edge cases. This is why we're building a simulator, a maritime digital twin, if you want. It comprises environments. We've mapped ports around the world. In this digital environment, we can control weather, we can control traffic. But the most important thing here is that we can simulate sensors. The typical sensor kit that you would have, visual, so cameras, thermal cameras, radar, LiDAR, AIS, and GPS. All this in a virtual world. This is a screenshot from our software. The top row shows a live stream from our simulated vessel. It's performing a crossing of a canal somewhere in Norway. The video streams on top are from the front, back, port, and starboard sides. The bottom right corner shows the LiDAR stream, the LiDAR point cloud stream picked up by the LiDAR sensor. Using this virtual environment, the virtual ships, and the virtual sensors, we are able to create one of the largest data sets in the maritime world. And on top of this, we start building our first products. Our first product and a first step towards automation is situational awareness. Situational awareness means understanding your surroundings, fusing all of the inputs from your sensors in order to have one consistent and rich representation of the environment. The top row shows a segmentation pixel by pixel of what is being seen by the visual sensors in here. In the bottom image, we showcase a demonstration of target identification. These are other vessels, as well as target classification, so the type of vessels. We're looking to start deploying these on board ships to optimize and enhance navigation crews' situational awareness. We are a team, a business and a tech component. Patricio is a second-time entrepreneur who's founded a successful logistics startup. I'm a hardware and deep learning expert. I've researched computer vision at the lab, which has developed autonomous vehicles for Toyota. And I've developed embedded computer vision hardware for NXP Semiconductors, one of the leading automotive suppliers. We are Team Azimuth, and we are developing software to enable all of the new vessels and ships to be autonomous. Thank you.
Last but not least, a startup from Israel providing a cybersecurity solution for ports, shipping companies, and ships. Yeah, please welcome on stage Avital.
So first of all, I'm Avital. I'm the co-founder and the COO of Sidem. Very excited to take part, and thank you for inviting us for a plug and play. And thank you for saving cybersecurity for last. I hope you're there. So first of all, a little bit about cybersecurity in general. It has been already indicated that cybersecurity is ranked as the second highest risk for shipping in 2019. And not only because of the major increase we've seen on cyber attacks for the last 3 years and more, because also of the great potential damage that those events have already occurred and will continue to occur with the rising threats. This is just an example from last week. We've seen other examples, not just crews, but also merchant ships. There are famous cases, but also not so famous events that occurred. And a little bit about the implication of maritime cyber risk. First of all, when we talk about cyber risk, it's not just antivirus. 69% of organizations claim and testimony that threats cannot be blocked just by an antivirus softwares. The impact of an average cost of malware attack is $2.5 or $2.6 million on just the malware attack, and the vast majority of ransomware attack is around 304 million attacks just in 2020. So this is a major problem, and it's on the rise. Shipping industry is very, very attractive, and it seemed that it is there. It is not just there because of the fact that there are hackers own malwares all over the globe, but also now it's also on the map ever since the International Maritime Organization mandated that from the January 2021, all companies must include cybersecurity protection. We've seen it with another cluster of regulation, not just IMO, but this is definitely a topic that maritime industry is now taking into consideration very seriously. So what do we do? Saeed is a relatively new company. We've been around for the last 2 years. It's a group of maritime and also cybersecurity experts, also with a special qualification when it comes to the maritime industry. What we've done for the last years was to actually design a specific maritime cybersecurity around vessel. This is what we do. We don't do anything else, meaning that we dedicate our research when it comes to cybersecurity for this specific maritime backdoors. We looked at the challenges with the interview of clients and stakeholders in this industry and walked in order to make sure that the solution works in all this specific environment. What happened if there's no IT guy on board and there is a threat? What happened if communication is lost? How the solution should work? And we made sure that we address all those specific challenges in our solution. This is how it looks. So first layer is the visibility. We provide the ship owners and the operators with the ability to have a very intuitive look on their entire fleet with the most critical things they should be aware of, a real-time map, always able to screen the ones that are more critical and address the ones and less critical for later stage. Additional aspect of it is the protection itself, mapping all the IT, the OT, making sure that it's not just firewall antivirus, but entire spectrum end-to-end protection. And in this slide, you can see that, of course, the solution is deployed, it's self-deployed by the customer on the vessel. It's a hardware with a software proprietary for Saeed. And of course, it connects to the remote monitoring of the fleet manager position with the ability, of course, to interconnect between those. But still, if the solution needs to act in real threat event, real-time event, it will do so even if communication is lost, as I said before. And the third layer is the adherence to the legislation. The idea here was to make sure that we embed all the layers of protection and all the information we got together with the fleet managers and the IT guys, and make sure that we assist the company in checking all the regulation criteria. It's not just IMO. For example, when it comes to tankers, we also support the OCIMF, the TMSA3, and when it comes to the cyber chapter, and all those standards that are now becoming more and more in effect. We've already deployed our solution on a vertical, a few verticals already, also chemical container tankers, offshore vessels, and we're very excited to do it. And for any other question or any other aspect that you want me to highlight, I'm here. And that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Avita, for the great presentation, and also a big thanks to the other 5 companies presenting their technologies. Yeah, all of them will be there during our networking, so they will have a dedicated table where you can approach them. You will find them there, and you can directly address your questions.
Yes, so with that, we would like to conclude the tech company presentations, and we will move on to the next chapter, the next point to the agenda. That is a very special keynote speech by Dan Ram, who is himself a founder, motivational speaker, and also a transformation coach. And he will share his insights and experience on why it is so important to be in forefront of innovation as a maritime industry leader. So Dan Ram, the stage is yours.
Thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you for such a warm introduction. And now to you, our audience. A quick story to kick things off. March 23rd, 2021, 5:49 a.m., a ship gets a green light to make what should have been an ordinary passage across a canal. But 1 hour and 53 minutes later, that voyage was over, and for all the wrong reasons. You probably remember it, the now infamous Ever Given, that giant container vessel, 400 meters long, 220,000 tons, wedged, sandwiched across the Suez Canal. In just a matter of days, over 350 ships are left blocked, and they're carrying almost $10 billion worth of trade. Why is this relevant to us? Well, with all due respect, you may be one of the bigger ships on the waters. You may be one of the bigger players in the industry. You might have a strong competitive advantage to keep you ahead. But there comes a time, like with the Ever Given, where everyone needs collaboration to take you forward. Today, I don't want to talk to you about having a competitive advantage at a specific moment. I want to talk to you about having an evolutionary advantage over time. This is about shifting our direction, our frameworks, our way of thinking so that we can survive long term. What made you successful may not necessarily keep you successful. So what did happen to the Ever Given in the Suez Canal? Well, teamwork, collaboration. 800 people were involved with teams from Egypt, the Netherlands, Italy, Japan, I believe. Tugboats and dredging vessels all working together, because this is not a story about a giant getting stuck. This is a story about collaboration and teamwork bringing you out. The European innovation ecosystem is stronger than ever, but it does still trail behind other markets in terms of available finance and collaboration. And especially when you think about the pace of change when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution, the European economy's sustained success does require better connection between two worlds, the traditional business and the new market players. Both benefit from collaboration to create markets that they could otherwise not do on their own, and to ensure that we all remain at an evolutionary advantage. I don't have too much time, so feel free to take a quick screen grab of these, but I wanted to list, as someone who's worked on multiple sides of the market, some of the benefits for startups, right? We're talking about revenues from external capital. We're talking about future sales. We're talking about internationalization, proprietary assets, market knowledge, and mentoring that you can get from corporates. Corporates, on the other hand, here are some of the benefits for you to get involved in collaborative efforts like Plug and Play Maritime. You've got the external innovation and disruption. We are talking about more innovative suppliers. Some would argue better customer focus because startups can be closer to your target end user. And of course, staying on top of market development. But as you well know, more than half of the attempts of collaboration still fail due to a clash of mindsets between passionate entrepreneurial startups on one end and more process-driven, risk-averse corporates on the other end. I probably should not go through this, but it might be helpful. Startups in the audience, these are some of the risks involved for you, right? We're talking about a waste of resources, possibly, delayed projects, possibly, losing the startup spirit, possibly. And likewise for corporates in the house, reputational damage, possibly, unsure outcome, possibility, misalignment, possibly. You got to walk in, eyes and hearts open, aware that with any collaboration, there's some possible benefits and some possible challenges and risks. But right now, I want to focus on 3 major tips for successful, effective collaboration. You ready? I know we're on a platform here where I can't really see if you're saying yes or not, so I'm going to go ahead anyway. But here it is, the 3 tips. Number 1, focus on strategic alignment. Start with why, not what. We know the what. Look, the CEOs of corporates and startups share the same strategic goals, right? Growing your company, improving your competitive advantage, generating revenue. But it's about why collaboration. What doors can alignment open and unlock that wouldn't be possible otherwise? History is littered with examples of companies that lost sight of why they were doing it because they're focusing on what? You remember Blockbuster, right? They were fixated on their real estate play. But if they had focused on why they exist, right? Bringing entertainment to the heart of the home, they would have adapted and evolved with your changing customer needs. So instead of focusing on why they exist, they focus on what? Brick and mortar. And then they lost to Netflix. Another famous one, Kodak, right? They were once the ruler of the photography world. But instead of focusing on why they exist, capturing moments at the click of a finger, they focus on what they were doing, high-grade film and increasingly complicated cameras. And even though they held some of the earliest patents when it comes to digital photography, they refused to evolve because they didn't want to change what they were doing. And they lost sight of why they exist. So the first point is get the strategic objective fit right, that alignment right. Be specific and focus. Can I quickly share one of the success stories from Plug and Play? I remember a couple years ago, I was at one of the Plug and Play initiatives called Startup Autobahn. I was hosting the demo day, and this fantastic woman came up and shared about what 3 words. You might have heard about them as well. So they're one of the better known success stories out of Plug and Play. What they did is they found a more accurate mapping system. And they did that by dividing the entire world into 3-meter squares. And they gave each of these squares, 3 by 3 meter squares, 3 words to name them. So think about parks, think about entrances to doors, think about rural areas where traditional street markings don't work. But why do they do this? To improve efficiency, to improve the customer experience, to be more compatible with future innovations like drones, voice control devices, and driverless cars, and for better support for life-saving services. Their why was specific, which is why it should come at no surprise that everyone from Ford to Daimler, so many major corporates are jumping in to grow together. Focus on why, get the strategic alignment right. Step 2, relationship intelligence. This takes time. The upper management, the decision makers of both corporates and startups have to come together. This cannot be delegated to your social media marketing intern or someone lower down. You need to come to the table and work together. And most importantly, appreciate the differences. There is no one right way. Neither is better. Together, you are better. I'll give you a small example. One of the greater honors of my life was being appointed to the advisory panel of the National Government of Ireland. Me, a young, recent graduate of an MBA program at Trinity College in Ireland, an entrepreneur just starting off. Why did they pick me? Because diversity in your relationships, in your decision makers across the table is what leads to long-term evolutionary advantage. See, the issue was about 10 years ago, not too dissimilar from the pandemic situation we're in now, Ireland found themselves in a conundrum. They found themselves in trouble, in crisis. They had a major, major recession. A real estate situation in the US, a housing bubble burst had caused a major issue in Ireland. For a small country, this was devastating. And they knew that entrepreneurship and innovation was at the heart of figuring out how to move forward. And so what they do, they put together a 7-person panel that was very diverse. We had an investor from the financial market. We had the CEO of a major F&B corporate. We had me, an entrepreneur, an immigrant international entrepreneur. We had a professor of a university. Essentially what they did is they took key stakeholders from the different pillars of an ecosystem, put them together and said, devise a way forward. And so over a period of 6 months, we put together about 96 recommendations for how the country could move forward. This affected millions of jobs, billions in GDP, because it became the national policy entrepreneurship. But how? Teamwork, collaboration. And the only way we could do that was not by the financial guy saying, we have the money, we know the right way, or the corporate person saying, we know the processes, we've got the right way. It was actually about appreciating the differences in our work ethics, in our culture, in our mindsets, working together. So step 2, and a very important one, is invest in relationship intelligence. And finally, the last thing, when it comes to collaboration, is be willing to adapt. My steps for adaptate are down to 3 simple things. As the son of an Indian diplomat, I've done this many times. I grew up moving countries every 2 to 3 years. And so my 3 steps to adapting come down to this. Let go of the past, engage with the present, and position with the future. Rather than talking abstractly about this, let me give you an example. CNN. I watch CNN quite a bit. And CNN, predominantly, when you think CNN, that broadcasting network, you think about television. But if you think back to 2016, right? So not the last presidential elections, but the elections before that, the Republican debate was seen 23 million times, 23 million views on television. This became, at that point in 2016, CNN's second most viewed broadcast. But in some ways, traditional television and consuming content merely by television is a thing of the past. Remember, in order to adapt, in order to collaborate well, you got to let go of the past. And so what they did is they figured out, how do we engage with the present so we can position for the future? And we know that it comes down to digital, and specifically about going mobile. And so they started talking to the young startups, the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Kicks and others. And they started figuring out, how can they engage with the new, with the now. And this should be not shocking at all, but a single Facebook page, one Facebook page of many that covered the presidential debate, one fan page, that same Republican debate was viewed 100 million times. And then when they went to platforms like Kick, they started experimenting with sticker sets and emojis and GIF trays that could be put in real time. They were experimenting with free instant messaging apps, and they even had VR technology. Why? CNN dominates. They're at the top of the television game. But they know, in order to have an evolutionary advantage, they got to collaborate. And in order to collaborate, they have to adapt. In order to adapt, they have to let go of the past, the way they used to do things, and engage with the present. This is the opportunity for your industry right now. Things are changing. Things will continue to change. And what are you going to do about it? Are you willing to adapt? Are you willing to let go of the past, engage with the present, position with the future? I want to wrap up by saying, I am smiling and I am enthusiastic because I'm confident that you are in the right place. You've made the right decision to contribute and benefit from the plug-and-play ecosystem. As you've already heard from the speakers before me, this ecosystem is global and expansive, and the people are determined and resourceful, and the success stories are plentiful and growing. You are in the right place at the right time. Welcome to our collective future, where collaboration paves the way forward. Thank you so much for your time. And now back to the studio. Over to you guys.
Perfect. I think we had a great event. Thank you, everyone who tuned in today, who was part of the show, joined the panels, the tech companies, our founding partners. I think it was an amazing insight and sneak peek about what we would like to achieve with this platform. The goals that we are pursuing to make the maritime world more innovative, more digital, more transparent, safe, and clean. And I invite everyone who is interested, if you're a tech company, young startup, a corporation, or someone from the ecosystem that would like to know more or participate with us, please join the platform. Please join this journey. We invite you to our fantastic, hopefully fantastic, launch and selection day in October in Antwerp, where we're going to have live interactions, hopefully, if the situation allows. And we're really, really looking forward to this. A big thank you goes to the teams of Plug and Play and our founding partners who have put a lot of energy, a lot of insights, knowledge, and a lot of creativity into forming the future of this platform. And we're very excited to continue and start. We are also excited, and that's why I would like to invite everyone to the networking. Please click on the tables around, meet our corporate partners, our founding partners, our startup and tech ecosystem, and speak to us from the Plug and Play teams. We are there if you have questions. And now enough talking. I think we all deserve a cool refreshment and some networking now. Thank you very much for joining and tuning in, and have a great evening, everyone.